people who are most successful with these get-rich-quick schemes are the ones that are very charismatic,
Yes.
a rich lifestyle. Or
Yeah.
I was able to get here,
Right.
and with
Stories,
Yes.
testimonials. AI is the new surge of like AI is going to breed a lot of millionaires. A lot of people are pouring lots of money into the internet, and they want to be the next big thing. AI to me is the new surge.
With a little health and a little wealth and a lot of love, that's a life that we live. Suits and Scrubs.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Suits and Scrubs, where we talk about a little bit of health,
A little bit of wealth,
and a lot of love. So I am your host, Emily MD. I am joined by my husband and co-host, Mr. Zachary SVP, who has reached his Coast Fire number, has managed over $1 billion to date. And fun fact about him is that he has quite a few tattoos, and specifically the ones his right sleeve. He has a watercolor to depict all of the different countries that he has been to in the world. And so every time he gets back from an international trip, he gets another watercolor tattoo. And it is the country, the outline of the country with the flag colors.
Yeah.
And he is getting ready to go on another trip to Japan and South Korea.
Poor Emily. We're doing rapid fire episodes right now, so we get all our episodes in before the end of March. So we're squishing them all in a short time frame.
We are.
Thanks, Em. So that's Emily, my other co-host, who is Overboard certified internal and BC medicine. She is getting her certification in functional. I think she actually is going
Functional medicine, yeah.
Yes, she's going to finish her courses very, very soon. I know it's looming over her. Also, she's interested in aesthetics. She believes that the power of the patient lies in the quality of information you get from our podcast.
And other reputable
But our
sources.
podcast the most. I don't have a fun fact about her, but if folks listening on our podcast, so Emily has her hair braided. She looks like merda. We're both kind of Disney nuts, so she looks like she's like to shoot some bows and arrows at me. And also she's interestingly dressed. Like I swear
Yes.
she's not going through a midlife crisis. There's a reason behind this.
This was not a choice. This was a loss of the Wheel of Punishment.
Speak at your own risk.
Because someone always likes to choose words that I'm almost certainly going to say during my episodes. And so I always have to spin the Wheel of Punishment. And so I am wearing our dragon dress-up outfit, which you actually wore several episodes ago. And yes, it is the same exact outfit. It fits me a little bit differently. Maybe a little bit looser in certain places.
That's mine. You have a smaller version of it. You just didn't decide to find it.
So our 30-day challenge this month, this 30 days, I am super excited about. So we talked to everybody about the probiotic, the Akkermansia supplementation. We did the poop test, all that fun stuff. And so we're still waiting to hear the results. But we have started our next challenge, which is trying to get us to be more active and less sedentary. So we have walking desks, and we've been using them for 2 days now. And I think we're both fans so far.
Yeah. I think too, it's interesting because as you guys know, I've been trying to lose 25 pounds. I've talked about that, quite a bit, trying to get back to my pre-COVID weight. And I told Emily, like, I still want to do cardio, but I also want to lift weights. So what I'm trying to do more is weight training in the morning and then just walk 5 miles at least a day. I did 11 miles yesterday, which we talked about. In fact, right before this episode, I actually got my Apple Watch Mac that will record my steps, which I'm very, very excited about.
So we'll keep you guys posted on how the walking desk, or the walking pads, I will say, are going. I think so far we're happy with the amount of space that it takes up. It's not a huge burden on our current space. We're able to easily pick it up and move it elsewhere and kind of rearrange our offices. So it's been a win so far.
Yeah. We'll let you guys know how it kind of progresses.
And we have a special episode or series of episodes today where we're doing things a little bit differently. So instead of doing segments at the first part of our podcast episode, we're actually going to do a lot of refactions. And we're talking about get rich quick schemes and whether or not they are exposed? Are they actually get rich quick schemes, or are they not?
So guys, this is an episode for you. It's a two-parter. We're doing 6 refactions. I'm super, super excited about this. I don't know how many times you have been approached by something that's too good to be true, or a situation where it's like, wow, like I can get fast money and get quick rich. There are some get quick rich schemes out there, I will say, but by the end of both these episodes, you'll have the ability to identify these and see if the juice is worth the squeeze. And so I've done a lot of research on this. Actually, what we here believe in Suits and Scrubs is practicing. So I know someone who's done these things, or very, very close, or I've done them myself. So I want to let you know how these are. So get rich quick schemes exposed.
Such a tongue twister.
Dun, dun, dun.
Get rich quick. I think all of us have been in that situation where on social media or on Facebook specifically, where we haven't heard from this person from high school or from our childhood, and then all of a sudden they request to be friends with you. Yeah. And then it's all about the multi-level marketing, or they want to sell you something. They want to tell you that you're going to be able to get rich quick off of this silver bullet.
If we win and who's losing, that's my favorite line. I've seen there's a lot of people online that are doing these things.
So why don't you tell us the typical mindset of someone who views these get rich quick schemes, and they might be attracted to it. Tell us kind of who their typical audience is, and who gets sucked into these pitches.
Well, the thing is everybody. I think everybody gets attracted to these, gets sucked into these. I myself have been in 2 presentations, and as soon as I hear something about this, and so when I was 19 years old, I was a marketing research manager. So my ability to research things, especially at that time, that's when the internet was kind of like developing and forming. And so a lot of information wasn't out there. I was able to research things very, very quickly on credible sources that I went to. So anytime I'm sitting there, and I'll never forget it, someone tapped me on the shoulder, one of my friends says, hey, I want you to come, when we were talking about things, he was very inquisitive. He was very interested in me, like talking to me, having questions and things like that. I'll say, oh, okay, cool. I can meet a friend or whatever. It's a friend of a friend. We're at a pool party. Heck yeah. He said, I love you to know. I said, yeah, why not? And he said, hey, I want you to come to this little conference, this thing that I'm just doing, like I said, fine. And they made me sit in the front row. What I didn't realize is if you sit in the front row, the first 7 chairs are the ones that you really want to get involved. It was Amway. It's the number one multi-level marketing. And so I tell that story because I was sitting there, and then they call upon you, they talk to you, they engage with you, and there's a room of 100 people plus. And the guy was a good spokesperson, I'm not going to lie, but they have to be. So that was one. I'll talk about my other experiences later on. So one is someone is in desperation or financial strain. I think that is important to know. Yeah. You look at these things and you're like, oh my gosh, these people are making money. They're doing things, I want to be on the next, and you want to get in early if you want to do one of these things. That is absolutely true. And so using your financial status, you want to jump into something like that. If it's too good to be true, and you think
it usually is.
It really is. If you can get rich overnight, no, that ain't it. That ain't it. Lack of financial literacy. Mm-hmm. So I'm guilty of this, guys. Like playing the lottery and things like that. So, if you put that $30, $100, whatever it is, into a Roth and you compound an ETF, I guarantee you make more money. I'm a living fan of that, living proof of that. So making sure that, these folks are more financially literate, are susceptible to these schemes. Impatience and greed. So all things happen for those who wait. Usually you do not get rich overnight. It's just not one of those things that usually happens. There are some success and wild stories, and I am going to lay those out as we dive deeper into the 6 areas that I'm exposing, if you would. I hate to say it, but if you're gullible, is that one of the words?
Gullible.
Did you read the
one of
screen
the words.
and decide?
I did not. I saved that word just for you, honey.
I don't believe you. You didn't read my outline and come up with
No, I
word.
didn't. Would you like to spin the wheel?
Well, I don't think I have a choice, do I? All right, so I said gullible, which is one of the words. So I'm going to spin the wheel. Dun, dun. That was quite the spin.
That was quite the spin.
I don't know about you guys, but that click sound is so satisfying to me.
You should be on Wheel of Fortune.
Wow, that was quite the spin. It's still going. It's still going. All right.
It's rhyme time.
No, it's not.
It's spit take. Or why is it still moving? It's songbird.
No. Is it really? Okay. Well, songbird is a word you have to sing for 30 seconds. And by the way, we're not doing rhyme time anymore. It's kiss the other's foot.
Kiss the other's foot? Okay. We've had too many rhyme times.
Too many rhyme times.
There must be a magnet.
That's not very fun, the rhyme times. All right, so gullible, unrealistic expectations. So those you just want to get something quicker. So those are the folks that really, and this is what I tell people, like talk to your friends. You know, if your friend says you're gullible and you may not know it, you know, you might want to like, you know, consider that. Social pressure or influence. And this is a big one because most people don't like, if you're in a situation, most people don't want to say no or they feel guilty. And this is one for you. Like I could see you being socially pressured or socially influenced because I have no problem saying no. In fact, I like conflict. So
yeah, I'm a people pleaser, so.
You are. And so this is one of those things. I'd never forget it. I'll drop my second story, but there's more stories about this. One of my friends, one of my roommates, great guy. He was in McDonald's right across the street from Winthrop. And this guy does a Winthrop University where I went to. Go Eagles. It was some guy was hanging out at McDonald's and he was like recruiting college kids. And I never forget. This fool called me and says, yeah, I'm at McDonald's. I want you to talk to somebody. This guy was like, hey, come to McDonald's. I'll come and buy you, lunch. Let me talk about something else. It was like Amway again. Yeah. And I was like, yo, bro, like, no. And I said, and I was real nice to the guy. I said, Trenton, his name is Trenton, sorry. I said, Trenton, why are you going to do that? I ain't going there and I'm not interested. I'm just not.
Well, a lot of times too, I think it's people who are most successful with these get-rich-quick schemes are the ones that are very charismatic.
Yes, that's true.
And can sell, ketchup to a woman with white gloves? Is that the saying, or white dress?
I was going to say ice to Eskimos, but that one works too.
And
I've never heard that.
I mean, my dad always, I know when it's Boy Scout season or like the Girl Scout cookie season, and they're always like standing out in front of the grocery store, and they always look like so precious and like, please buy our Girl Scout cookies, or please. It's so hard to say no. And so if somebody has a good pitch and they're personable, then it's a lot easier to get duped.
That's right. This is what I say. No, I'm on a diet. But what I'll do, guys, I'll say that, and I swear I'm gonna get some letters. I'll donate though. I have done that many times. Like here's $10. Like just keep it. Like whatever.
Keep your multi-level marketing scheme.
Exactly. So let me get more into that. So I remember we were driving through the neighborhood and these little girls were selling lemonade. I said, I could go for some lemonade, And so they were like, and then they gave me things like $5. Like, dang, for lemonade. So I reached in my pocket and I looked at her. I said, you know what? These girls out there hustling. I gave them a 20. I said, listen, be on your way. Have a good day.
I hope they gave you 4 cups of lemonade for that.
No, they just gave me one. It was very small. And the thing is, they bamboozled me. They had this big red Solo cup that was like, and then they gave me this little cup. I'm like, dang. like, do you remember that? I was like, dang. So last thing I'm going to say is just legal and ethical concerns, making sure, folks who have legal and ethical considerations as you join one of these things. So these people are the most susceptible to these. But I say the number one is they think they can happen overnight. And then, what's interesting about this, and I'll talk about this later in the refactions, is a lot of people post their lifestyle being part of these businesses, and they're probably very accurate, but they've probably been doing this for a while. And that's one of my favorite financial gurus who actually talks about this. I can't wait for that refaction, but that's coming.
I hate to bring up cults. We've talked in prior episodes how we love watching cult documentaries, but
honestly, it kind of is like that.
It is, but you see how people kind of get roped in, and it's a lot of times it's this picture of a rich lifestyle, or I was able to get here, and with
stories, testimonials, and the thing is they put on a good show.
Yes,
that's very common with cults. They put on a good show.
It's all about the charisma.
And I'm telling you what, guys, I've analyzed so many of these multi-level marketing. because I actually do think it's pretty fascinating. And they'll do like, you get a Mercedes. And then, of course, the person's going to post it on their car. Oh my gosh, I got this Mercedes. And I've seen that. It's in my network. I'm like, dang, like good for them, you know? I've seen this so many, many times, you know, and the more they get pushed up and they find another one like them, could you imagine what they get pushed up like? It's crazy. I mean, it can be done. And they have so many savings, like, I did that on purpose because I wanted to say it out loud, but I didn't want to expose the company because these companies got deep pockets and they ain't coming after me. But I said it in my head. I'll tell you off the camera. Okay. And maybe if you're interested, guys, I'll drop you a line on that. But did it sound good, though?
Yes. You made me think of like wacky inflatable arm balloon guy.
Maybe.
Which is no one that we know of.
Right.
So what are the typical lures or hooks that people use in these get-rich-quick schemes that might tip you off a little bit?
And the prevalence of social media is replicated. It makes it easier. It's, you know, these guys are very consistent. And there's a few of them I watch. I'm actually very close with it. I'll comment on their stuff. Like, wake up. Good morning, millionaires and billionaires. I wake up at 3 or 5 o'clock in the morning. You know, and sometimes they'll post something about food, and it's always unhealthy. I'm like, health is wealth too, yo. That's part of our, you know, Susan Scruggs podcast. I'm being a little bit of a troll. I'm being a little bit of a troll, but not in a bad way. They're actually good friends of mine. So like, I always like, and we have good conversations.
It's hard out in these streets.
It is. So high returns with little or no risk. That's just one of the areas, one thing that they communicate, you know, oh, if you spend $300 now, then blah, blah, blah. And then again, one of my refactions is going to get into this. I don't want to get exposed to too much here because it's so perfect. And the way he explains it, I just love. Fast and easy money. It's not fast and it's not easy. 9 times out of 10. I'm really focused on multi-level marketing, but some of these other get rich are not fast and easy either. I can go through every single one of them, my 6. It's not fast and easy. They advertise that. And what's interesting about these is some of them could be residual, which means you get money constantly coming in. That is a possibility. But boy, you got to work. That's another one. This is one thing that's really going on, like exclusive insider information or secrets. Like if you join now in the next 10 minutes, you're the first 15. Oh, the last 20, I have these spots open. So exclusivity is a very brilliant sales tactic. I'm a big fan of $100 million offers, leads. He talks about this a lot, about having exclusivity. Now, I think exclusivity, if it's exercised correctly, it's a brilliant way. Like, for example, for you as a primary care physician, you didn't have any patients open on your panel until like 3 to 6 months. That is an exclusivity, but it's a valid exclusivity. And so that's something that we talk about as we venture into more of a virtual health business in the future, you know, especially when it comes to PCOS and all that. And guess what, guys? It's not get rich quick and it's not easy. You know, we're on 24 episodes now and, you know, it's not easy.
I think everything worth getting takes some risk and some hard work.
Some risk and some hard
work. That's the, like you said, that's kind of the thing that should make the warning bells go off. If there's no hard work involved and there's no risk involved, then it's probably not worth the squeeze. And I'm thinking about too, membership fees for places, especially in Center City, where you've got these kind of high end, like the sauna and the self-care, where they tell you, hurry up and become one of our Prime exclusive members.
Prime. And I want to be Prime.
And you can pay this much money up front for your monthly fee, but you can only get this rate for so long before. And they haven't even opened yet. You haven't even seen what their services are, but because it's exclusive, it's like, oh, well, let me get in on this because everybody's going to jump in and they're going to be paying a lot more than I am. So I'm getting a good deal.
Which sometimes it can be true, but let me tell you this again, exclusivity is a brilliant sales tactic and it does work. And it's something that you should consider, you know, if you're a business owner listening to this, or if you're, you know, entrepreneur listening to this, you should definitely consider that. But I think it should be applied appropriately. So exclusivity is something to look out for. Guaranteed success or results. There's not many guarantees in life. And so if someone approaches you and say, hey, I can guarantee you success and guarantee you results. What? Ain't happening.
That's a red flag.
Pyramid, multi-level marketing. So one thing to really be on the lookout for, and we're going to talk more about this, is if they're more interested in your recruitment and interested in your recruitment, get out. I think a lot of these companies should focus more on product and services. And yes, there's like, for example, I'm a big Real Housewives of Atlanta fan. I know that's kind of weird, that's a guilty pleasure. But Candy created this whole business. She's one of the housewives on the business, uber successful. And she has passion parties. And that's where I think a multi-level marketing works very, very well. They're not focused on just recruitment, though. They're focused on products.
The products, yeah.
Exactly. I'm a huge fan of that model. Celebrity endorsements and testimonials. If they badgered you with testimonials, and sales kind of goes like this. Usually you give the value up front and why it's important. Like, are you a target market? And then they spend most of their time talking about testimonials, what we have done for this, what we have done for that. And then they get into like the exclusivity and all that. So testimonials, just be on the lookout for that.
I think that can be difficult too, because if you have people that you trust, that you follow and that you trust, that's the other thing is now on social media, they make you say if this is an ad or if it's not an ad. But before they did that, you didn't know if that person was getting paid for that specific product.
That's true.
And so now it definitely makes me think twice if I see somebody and then they have the hashtag like paid partner, blah, blah, blah. It's like, do you really use this, or is it because you're getting paid? And that's, I think, a true testament is if someone's like, I'm not getting paid for this, but this works and this is.
But also could go the other way. Like there's some very prominent YouTube followers I followed around content creation, and they say, listen, I am paid by this ad, but bear with me. And they did they measured 2 or 3 different applications and say, here's the functionality. So you make your best decision, but this is why I chose this one. And for us, like when we do products and services on the Susan Scrubs podcast, and we will, based upon your background, we'll probably lean more to the health sector more than the wealth sector, right? That's just, we're passionate about helping people that way. If we broadcasting products, we use them ourselves. That's one thing before we even started this. That's one thing that we're really, really big on. So yeah, maybe an ad, but we use these products ourselves, so that's something that's important. So limited time offers or urgencies. I talk about this about the exclusivity. Limited time offers, like that is a real thing. So something to think about. Complex jargon. So if they use very complex jargon, they're trying to like gaslight you. Like that's a red flag. Like, break it down. And then emotional manipulation. I know someone in my network that's really focused on life insurance. Now, I'm not a really big believer in life insurance. I think that if people save correctly, and I think this is terrible, but I think life insurance is one of those things that, is a tax on the poor, on underserved communities. Not to say that. And I think if you're not in a situation where you are saving for retirement, investing, all that, I think there are some cases where that does make sense. And I hate to be morbid, but you die early. And it's part of a multi-level marketing kind of thing. And she's pushing this, I'm the insurance lady, you get insurance with me, you get a free cell phone or a free tablet. It's not free. But good for her though. Like she feels really good about helping people.
And sometimes I think it depends on your situation. If you're in a single income household and you've made that decision that one person, and a lot of times if you have a stay-at-home mom or that your childcare, you have several kids and that person is taking care of the household and you've made that decision from the get-go, what happens if your primary breadwinner dies unexpectedly?
Let me modify here. Now that life insurance I'm okay with. What I'm talking about, this life insurance, it's insurance to cover funeral costs. That's what it is. It's not like if I die, I want to have a certain insurance. And it's not that. So, let me redefine what that looks like. I'm sure there's other insurances this person sells, but it's really focused on, if I pass away, it's that insurance that covers funeral costs. Which funerals are expensive. They can be $15,000 to $18,000. And so if it's $50 a month or $100 a month and you pay for that insurance, well, let's say you live 40 years. I mean, what could you done with that? You could invest in that. You could, that's what I'm talking about.
I know.
for that though, yes.
That's like buying the warranty. You're not a
because I have life insurance on you. Actually, I do have life insurance on you, and you have life insurance on me. Like if I die, then all my debts are completely wiped out. Like since you're not working right now, I have life insurance on you, and if you die, like I have all the debts. Like
I have a lot of student loans to pay off, and I would be considered a high earner to be able to pay those loans off. But I feel like once we were married, those loans also become your loans.
No, they don't. Actually, student loans are one of those debts they don't assume. So if you do die, I will not worry about student loans. But for like this house and other things like that, I guess it could.
Yeah.
And so that's why that's important. But also too, I think it's important to get. So I do think life insurance is important. I'm recanting here, and again, this is a podcast. I can go back and change my mind if I want to, but I'm saying there's different types of level of life insurance. Like some life insurance I've seen sold are usually to this underserved communities. I'm just like, God, if y'all just save $50 a month yourselves, unless you die in the next year or two, which I hate to be
preying
morbid.
on the people who are in financial constraints, which is
that's what I'm saying.
Terrible.
And getting back to my point, that's emotional manipulation in my mind.
Yeah.
Or if they play to your emotions, and they're really, really good at this. That's something to really look out for. So yeah.
So I think a lot of people initially will have those reservations. They'll see these things initially and say, not getting sucked in there. I'm not going to be gullible. I'm not going to be duped. What are some reasons that they end up kind of falling prey to some of these get rich quick schemes?
Yeah. So some of the hesitations are really around skepticism and unrealistic promises. Like, can they really promise me that? They've been doing this for a few years. Can I get what they're at? The legality and legitimacy, like, is this legal? Sometimes people ask that question. Fear of financial loss and lack of understanding. Like, these people are so well trained in these 4 areas that some factors that they use as very persuasive marketing tactics. For example, the insurance lady I was talking about, she posts every day on social media. I find her fascinating. I find things like this. I'm a wealth guy, so when I see these guys doing multi-level marketing, or I have this one girl who is a travel expert, and she travels all the time. He's like, God, how she's doing this? I want to live that lifestyle. And she's always like, I'm looking for boss babes to come to Jamaica with me. And she's serious, and she's hustling, bustling, wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. Like, she's doing it, right? Like, social proof is a part of that, like testimonials, success stories, and endorsements. I gave you some examples of that. They're very consistent. I think this one is about fixing your credit score, your credit. And of course, if you're targeting credit score, big sigh.
Yeah.
It's already hitting that underserved communities.
Yeah.
I think some of these are taxing the poor. And I see some of these entry fees. Some of these entry fees like $300 a month. I'm like, wow. So people who have really bad credit score, it's great that these companies can fix their credit score. I think it's great. But you're charging someone who's already having issues with this, and they're paying $300 a month for your services. No wonder you're getting, fancy this and that. I don't want to get too specific, because if you listen to my podcast, I'm not dogging you. I'm just saying, I've seen testimonials. You are helping people fix their credit score, and they follow suit and they believe in the product. They'll bring about 10, 20 other people with them. I think it's a novel thing, but that is something to really look at. Pressure from peers and influencers. So what they'll do is they're like satellites. So like, this is what we're doing. Come to this conference, and it's a big show. They suck people in. Let me talk to you here. Like, hey, talk to this person. Well, you know what? You should talk to this person. And so they kind of like ping off of each other, and then that way they kind of like, And what they do is they psychograph you, which they figure out like age, level, income, interests, all of that. And if you think they're better aligned than someone else, they'll actually connect you with that person to integrate with your interest. I'm a single mom too, or hey, I like to work out. Where do you buy your pants? You're real tall. I'm really tall. Like,
They're demonizing the other side of things. So
demonize is a little bit too strong, because
I wouldn't say.
I do think some of these businesses are legit. It's just these are the tactics that they're using to get through your hesitations, your walls.
So it's playing on your emotions by making you feel warm and fuzzy about this decision you're making, and then also the alternative, either doomsdaying or making that other alternative seem like it's unethical or immoral in some way.
If it's a scam, show me where it's a scam. If we're all winning, who's losing? Job just over broke. You know how many times I've seen that on my feed? Yeah. Oh, you're claiming a job? Oh, this is a multi-level marketing, and what they'll do is they'll show you how your job is a multi-level marketing. Well, here you are in the organization, then you have your management, then you have your middle management, and then you have your senior management, and you have your CEO. Like, this looks like a pyramid to me. No, it's not. But no, that's what they do. They use those tactics to kind of show you different things. I'm glad you said that, because it reminded me to say that to folks. And all this is probably resonating with you guys. FOMO. What is FOMO?
It is the fear of missing out.
Yes. So, they're looking hot over there on the other side of the line. They're traveling. They're doing all these things like...
Yeah, don't believe everything you see on social media.
No, and we're going to talk about that. So again, like, I don't want to dive too deep here, because I'm going to break these down. But FOMO, and then I could talk about more of the emotional, which I already hit on. So I wanted to frame today to kind of talk about, like, some of this is fluff a little bit. So if y'all want to fast forward this part, I'm okay with it. Now let's get into the meat.
So are we getting into the actual get rich quick schemes that you
Yes.
want us to see?
Yes. So we're going to do a refactions on every single one of these, and I'm super, super excited. So the first one was in 1999, and we're going to focus on the internet millionaires.
Given the decades of wisdom that has built up in the business world, investors, it sounds like you're saying, are making a big speculative bet if they're investing in your company stock.
Well, I think all internet companies, the stocks are incredibly volatile, and
But even long term.
Long term, I believe that it's very easy to predict that there are going to be lots of successful companies born of the internet. They're going to have very large market caps and so on. I also believe that today, where we sit, it's very hard to predict who those companies are going to be.
So why don't you tell everybody who is talking in this clip?
It's Jeff Bezos, right? Mm-hmm. Or no, it's not. It's is it Jeff Bezos? Yeah, it's Jeff Bezos. Yeah. So he owns Amazon. This is back in 1999. So this is 24 years ago.
1999.
24 years ago. What a time to be alive. So I'm going to take y'all all back. So internet, for anyone who's young listening, the internet was born in my generation. I remember the internet. And there's this whole, before cryptocurrency, it was the internet. The internet was a huge, major boom.
We were live when there was dial-up.
Yeah, and I remember dial-up. You just plug the thing in there and it goes, and so the early growth in the 1990s is where the internet was first replicated. And so this was called the dot-com bubble. And a lot of people were pouring lots of money into the internet. They want to be the next big thing. Jeff Bezos was part of there. He was part of the long game. So get rich quick scheme exposed. Let's talk about Jeff Bezos. We all know that was not a short in and out.
They had 99. So we're 25 years.
But even before then, he did it. I think it was 5 years. Like, he did Amazon.com, like in the early 90s. It wasn't even the top end of the 90s. And so once the investment surge took place, there was a lot of IPOs within the stocks of the internet. So a lot of people put a lot of money into it. They thought it was the next big thing, the next Amazon, the next, Netflix was like $6 a share. I remember
when Netflix, it used to be just mailed
DVDs.
The DVD would be mailed to your mailbox, and how that was so cool.
I didn't really like. The reason why I got Netflix is because I could have the video, and I had like a PlayStation 2 or 3 at the time, and you could actually watch those videos online. And the movies were crappy. They're like crappy movies. They're not what it is now.
Yeah, and there was never a late fee. You could keep it if you wanted to. If you really loved the movie, you could just keep it, and then if you wanted to just rent it and pay the rental fee, you sent it back.
Right.
And got the next one.
Please be kind. Rewind. Blockbuster. You got to love that.
What a time to be alive.
It was. So the internet surge. So one thing about it is the cultural impact. So this marked a very significant cultural shift. And we're still seeing that impact today. I haven't been into a brick and mortar store. Like, I probably go, I don't know. I've probably been once this year. And by the time this is recorded,
that's probably because this one is the one who goes in the brick and mortar stores.
Even before then, when you were working primary care, you were not you wouldn't go either. You would have your groceries delivered. You get your Amazon. So it made a huge cultural shift. And this is sad though. When you're on the 90s, like I'm a 90s kid, and you walk through the malls and things like that. Oh man, and you had all the the GameStop and the Radio Shack, KB Toys.
That was your source of entertainment.
Yeah,
that was. I mean, we used in junior high and early high school, we used to get our parents just to drop us off at the mall, just to window shop and look at things and socialize.
Hang out. Yeah, it was like that. It's the best replication of this. If you see Mean Girls, it's probably the best in our era. I don't think it's like that anymore. In fact, when I talk to kids who are in the teens, it's not like that as much anymore.
Which is kind of sad to me. But.
It is kind of sad, but it's we're getting less and less together. But that's not the point of this episode.
Yeah.
So the bubble burst. So early 2000s, it burst. Many dot-com companies failed. They burned through their capital without achieving profitability. And the reason why I'm going all the way back is because this is so important of get rich quick schemes. I don't know how many times I saw on TV that, man, I used to be one of those that stay up late at night, click on the TV, be like, oh crap, if I buy this newspaper ad, I can get rich.
You were starting even at a young age.
I was like,
I was listening to those like oldie like
Oh, hell no.
Celine
I want to
Dion
get rich. I want to get rich
infomercials.
quick. I was watching all the things like, oh, if you start this website and sell this product and get crawled by Google, you'll be rich. I remember seeing this guy. I remember it. You know, post on these classified ads, you'll get rich. I wanted to get rich. And so some of the long-term impact of this bubble has transposed into other industries as well. So what I say about the internet is it get rich quick? It's not. It's to me, you have to build it out. You have to go for the long haul. Now what's interesting is you cannot move forward in any kind of business. We have a website, right? Any kind of business without having some sort of website, you know,
Internet
and
presence.
exactly.
Yeah.
And this is what I say to people: do not just have a business card on the internet. You know, especially if you're selling product and services. You know, even if you're old school. Too many times I've seen that. You know, but no, this is not a get rich quick. You're in it for the long game, and you're going to see a trend here. So this is not a get rich quick scheme for the internet.
So this is a quick message to everybody that owns Dogecoin. I have Dogecoin myself. I bought it a while back, so I'm very profitable. But there's something that a lot of people don't know. Right now, everybody's buying Dogecoin because of billionaire Elon Musk and because it's so popular. This is my warning. There's 20 wallets that own half of all Dogecoin. Look, Dogecoin blockchain data shows that over half of all Dogecoin is controlled just by 20 wallets. These people, these 20 wallets, will eventually take profit. This was the flash crash of Bitcoin over the weekend. Bitcoin's market cap is over $1 trillion. Dogecoin's market cap is only 51 billion. If Bitcoin with a $1 trillion market cap was able to do this really fast, when those 20 wallets or just some of those 20 wallets take profit, this is going to happen to Dogecoin in 2 or 3 seconds. So just know that there's a small amount of people that own most of the Dogecoin and they will take profit. And once that happens, the price of...
So the reason why I started with the internet and get rich quick scheme, right? Cryptocurrency. A lot of people enter cryptocurrency to get rich quick. And I think that trend has kind of faded over time. There's new coins here and here. And I picked Dogecoin for very specific purposes. I'm a big believer in Ethereum and Bitcoin. I think a lot of cryptocurrency, the value is in the blockchain technology, which the blockchain technology is the thumbprint by which you trade. So if you have any transactions, you can locate it. And there's only a certain amount of coins you have out there. So that way it protects against inflation. That's why these are so popular. But I have asked every single crypto coin investor in my circles, like, how do you associate value to it? Other than its scarcity. I still don't understand that.
So Dogecoin, is it
It's a
just
coin.
is it just another Bitcoin product?
It's not a Bitcoin product. It's
I'm just saying, like, is it something similar? Is it a similar idea?
But it's a cryptocurrency, right?
Okay.
And the reason why, you know why it's so interesting, Dogecoin? It's the name of Elon Musk's dog. And the fact that Elon tweeted about Dogecoin was the reason why the market share it is today. That's why it has 51 billion or whatever it is. It's that single fact that since Elon invested in that coin and tweeted against it, makes you think that why?
So why he mentioned the 20 wallets. What are the 20 wallets? Does that mean that like Elon Musk is...
No, I don't know if he has a wallet or not. So
give us a little bit more
I'm
information.
not a crypto expert, but what I do know about crypto is there are specific people who own the majority share of Dogecoin. So 20 people own majority of that share within Dogecoin. So if they decided to sell and dump the coin, then the price will go way, 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 way down. That's the same thing if you had, let's say you have X company and you had all these people trading these small percentage, because a lot of people are in that smaller percentage, and then the rest of the people are a part of the other. And if one person who has 20% of the company decides to sell, then yeah, that stock price will go down. It's supply and demand. It's economy. It's economics.
Yeah.
Very simply put. And so now talk about cryptocurrency. I do have a story.
Okay.
And we all have a story on things that just got away. So about 10 years ago, when Bitcoin wasn't even a few $100s, I met some dude. He was like my age at the time, in our 20s. We were just slinging it and partying and having a good time.
Slinging it.
Yeah, slinging it. And so he met with me and he had a presentation and he sat me down and he showed me this huge presentation for 20 minutes. And I was like, you know what? I don't know this guy that well. We were just kind of like, we chased girls together, just to be honest. Like we went to the bars. Like that's what we did.
And he came with a whole presentation.
Well, I was at work and he came, like he was in the neighborhood. Said, hey, I'll come by and show you this. I'm okay. He'll show me about Bitcoin and why was it so popular. It was a few $100s per Bitcoin. Now Bitcoin's trading at 60, 70,000, 75. Some people predicted Bitcoin would be $1 million each, which it could. No one knows.
This all is
It,
like
it
a
could.
foreign language to me. I just,
It's not that hard though.
yeah.
You have one financial instrument, and it holds value and increases value over time. The same thing I think about real estate. The same kind of thing, but in an exchange.
Yeah.
And so I kicked myself there because I thought it was a get rich quick scheme, and I've been approached with many get rich quick scheme, and it wasn't. It wasn't. As it says here today, if I would have bought every single thing I had at that time and sold at the peak, which is 75,000, I'd be sitting on. I calculated one day it's like 15 million or something crazy.
Yeah, but is that,
But nobody does that. It's
is
not
that
realistic.
just one of those things that it's just pure luck? Is there anything in that situation that you can look back on now to say
I don't
that?
know if it's pure luck because like if you understand AI is really big. AI is, to me is the new surge, which I probably should put it on here as like a follow on. So you have the internet, you have crypto, and then AI is the new surge of like AI is going to breed a lot of millionaires. It is. If you harness it, if you know it well, I see a lot of people in my network that are trying to use AI for that specific purpose. And so it's one of those things that are definitely going to increase. So if I would have jumped on this and really understood AI, I think that I could have invested in NVIDIA, which NVIDIA invented the chips, which had the computing power to power ChatGPT, which is owned most by Microsoft. And so I could have invested in that stock when I was the first early adopter of AI, and if I really understood the business behind it, I could have been a millionaire there. So I missed that opportunity. So
Yeah.
opportunities do allow itself. And so with Dogecoin, I just think it's a gimmick. I'm sorry. If you're a Dogecoin holder, I think cryptocurrency, unless it's Ethereum or Bitcoin, you're speculative at this point. Now there are some coins out there that are utility, like some of them they store data or they mine and all the other things.
Yeah.
I don't understand like these other coins out there. I think it's a get rich quick scheme.
Do you think it's more of
And-
like a copycat? They're just trying to
Yes, of course.
to jump on the coattails.
Yeah, and do the next coin, the next coin, the next coin. And there's a lot of things I can dive deeper into that. Like there's some coins out there that had a breach and had hundreds of millions of dollars stolen.
Oh, gosh.
And then what happened was they created a second version of this coin, and they didn't even address that issue over there. And they're like, oh yeah, sorry, it's gone. And once it's gone, it's gone. Security is a major issue. And I think it's gotten better. It's definitely developed over time. A lot of my friends have really digged into the crypto. Like one in particular I'm thinking of who really has invested in crypto. And if you're an early adopter before the train has left, there could be a potential. If you see a opportunity, you could. So crypto, I would say the Dogecoin and these new coins coming up, I think it is a get rich quick scheme. I hate to even say scheme, but like Ethereum and Bitcoin, I don't. I actually think it's a good long-term hold, especially because the blockchain technology is what's so valuable, like decentralizing the banks, and I worked for a bank for years, so, that's not a sexy thing to say, but that's something that, to think about. Yeah, so we could talk more about the cryptocurrency just to lay some more foundation. So there is a mainstream attention and speculation. Everyone's heard about it, right? At this point, right? There's something called an initial coin offering. Are you starting to see a theme here? Remember the internet? There was a massive, IPOs and people pouring a lot of money and capital into these internet companies. Same thing's happening in crypto. So I believe that history is just like a stream. You just recycled water. That's pretty much what it is. And you start to see the same trends. But if you're early in, you could actually make some money. And there's a lot of volatility, a lot of regulatory scrutiny around cryptocurrency. It's hard to regulate this because it's hard to find very specifically. And what's interesting about crypto is eventually I do believe in the next 100 years, I do believe that we can all be on one currency. And it could be something like cryptocurrency. It could be. Like I don't know if Bitcoin would be it or whatever. I do see it. I do see that being a huge possibility because it protects against inflation, but also you don't have to do foreign exchange. So if you're in this country, you don't have to worry about how it translates this. So hey, my dollar's worth this over here, but if I turn it over here, like I can barely buy a pizza.
Yeah, we could have a whole other episode on the doomsdayers that say that is
and that's the thing
end
too.
of the world, and
we did talk about that as socialism and capitalism. Like if you do believe in cryptocurrency, I think you're more on the capitalism side. It could be very, very dangerous. I do agree with that. And there's some pros and cons. Yes, the purchasing power of a dollar is going down and down and down every single year. But at the same time, I think there is such a thing that the government does regulate the money supply. by the Fed and the interest rates and all that, which we did a whole episode on that previously. So go check that out. But I do think that, if you're getting into cryptocurrency and you're buying the next emerging coin or whatever, I do think it could be a get rich quick scheme. I do. And I think what this guy just said very perfectly, better than me, is just Dogecoin's on my 20 wallets. This was a year ago, by the way, guys, or 2 years ago. But something just to think about as you think about diversifying your investments. So again, Bitcoin, Ethereum, good. Other coins,
Not so good.
I'm not saying not so good. It's move at your own risk.
Yeah, could be a get rich quick scheme.
Yeah, it could be.
Okay. So let's go on to our third.
Lots of people are on social media, but I think it's actually good that people are showcasing what they're doing. The bit I don't like is when people are being fake and they're making out that they're doing so much when in reality they're not. And a lot of people are online, but they're not actually sharing any numbers.
In this environment, it's so easy to create that persona of everything is fantastic, rosy, looks amazing, hired supercars, whatever it might be.
Wow, lots to unpack there. So the next one is get rich quick scheme, social media influencing. I'm gonna tell you right now, right out the gate, is this a get rich quick scheme? Hell no. It's not. It's not. If you build a following on social media, it's getting harder and harder, and AI is making it harder to enter the market. And they predict in 5-10 years that they'll have AI influencers. It's almost impossible to content create like things like what we're doing, right? They do predict that. That is a trend, and I've done a lot of research on that. It's a long-term game. When Facebook came around, like if you study the history of the social media and what's become popular, so Facebook started, but it took forever. You could only have certain limited friends. Mm-hmm. Instagram was the next thing.
Exclusivity.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was some exclusivity.
Yeah.
And so Instagram came along, and it didn't matter how many followers you have or how many people you can engage with. Mm-hmm. It could be limitless. But it took 10 years to create a massive following, and it still does. TikTok, you could be viral overnight. You can have hundreds of thousands of followers if you create a good, and I've seen it. We've all seen it. In fact, we have a friend of ours who become a major influencer, who jumped on the trend back in 2019. And arguably, I guess it could be a get rich quick because, she went wham. She went way up.
But I think it takes some savvy, it takes some work. And sometimes you do get really lucky with a viral post or video, but I do think it takes some creativity. You can't just do the same things that everyone else is doing and expect, especially because the market is so saturated now.
Right. It's so
Everybody
saturated.
wants to be an influencer.
Everybody wants to be an influencer. And you can even look at us don't y'all want to be influencers? No, we want to provide quality information to people to help them make better decisions from their health and wealth perspective. I told Emily I could wake up 80 years old and still do this because I want to help people. I didn't have a head start, so I want to help you. And same thing with him. Him didn't think the traditional method was well. Do we want to be famous and influencers? Hell no, we don't. But we do want to have an audience where we can cultivate and help them and make informed decisions. So influencing. So, this is, I can talk about this all day, but the emergence of social media platforms, think about who did it well, who did it the best.
I'm thinking about the influencers that I follow.
Think about, if you're overthinking it, who has done it the best?
The Kardashians.
Exactly. Exactly. And arguably, people are really tired of, looking at really uber famous people and getting rich and richer. They are. I think that paradigm shift is coming.
This is going to be an unpopular opinion too, and I know it makes a difference when you have capital, when you're rich to start off with, but to say that there was no work and there was some serious chess being played and some serious business decisions and some hard work that went into that too. It wasn't just because you also see these other rich, wealthy socialites that try to do it and they just can't make it work.
I'm very proud of what you just said, 100%. But their currency is beauty, and they've done a great job of transacting that. They have, and they build businesses and empires. And
Kris Jenner is brilliant. She
really is.
Is a marketing business managing genius.
I remember when Kim got married to Chris Humphries, and she was going to drop her last name, and then Chris was like, okay, well, and she pulled Kim in the office. Yeah, it may have been for the TV show, but it doesn't matter. The concept is there, and I do believe she's like that. And she did all these poster boards. Kim Humphries, Anyway, so I just want to say there that the social media influencing is a very long game. I have some friends of mine who are micro influencers, 50,000, 100,000. We even have some micro influencers. I don't think they're micro anymore. They're a million, they're 600,000 plus. And it is not, you constantly got to come up with content. We met some across seas. We met hundreds of thousands of followers, and their whole life revolves around a phone. That's what I told them. Like, we would do this, but we're not gonna live around a phone. We're just not.
Most people, you have to have a good product, because now the market is so saturated that if you have crap, then
you have to niche down.
Then people are not gonna, they're gonna see right through that. They're not gonna want to invest their time or money.
Exactly, and they're gonna niche all. You got to niche all the way down. Like for us, I talk about this all the time. I don't know if we niche down enough. We have 4 pillars. I have 4 pillars. You have 4 pillars. Isn't niche down enough? We have health and wealth together. Is that too much? Because if someone listens to your stuff, are they going to listen to mine? If someone listens to mine, are they going to listen to yours? And I think there's ways around that. You can do a psychological niche, which I believe that's what we're trying to aim at a bit. Couples, crunchy moms, doctors. And I think there's some episodes that may be interesting to people, some may not, and that's totally fine. So yeah, social media.
That's a beauty of social media now. Your platform can reach everyone if it's put out in the right way. Just
right format. There's a lot of math and science behind it. There really is. I said this before. At this time of this recording, we spent about $4,000 a month producing the app, this content, but we also put like a lot of money into the podcast equipment and the website.
A lot of time, a lot of research, a lot of
research. Every episode we do a ton of research. If you look at us, if we're looking on the screen, we're making sure that we follow a guide and making sure we hit on the key points here. But also, like, we have a lot of experience in these areas, right? And we're practitioners. And so influencer marketing is something that it does take a while to cultivate an audience. I know some people who have 2,000 followers that make $250,000 to $400,000 a year, and based upon their niche. Doesn't matter how many followers you have. If you have a followership that is heavily invested in what you're offering, it's more of a personal development coaching, and they have modules and classes and things like that. And then you have to make sure you monitor consumer behavior and making sure that you're endorsing the right products. You have to outline challenges and criticisms. So you put your life out there, you guarantee you. Like, we did a pre-launch recently just to kind of see where everyone's head's at. Some people really, really liked us. But some people it's like, you know what? This isn't for me. And that's okay. I want that feedback. There's a target audience for everything. And that's why I told Emily, like, I'm going to fortify our content when we post it so she's not seeing it. Because I don't want her to get her discouraged if there's 1 or 2 comments. You can get 1,000 comments and one can be negative. You focus in on that.
Well, I also think everybody's different, and God love you, but I do not want to spend my days watching podcasts about finance advice. It's just not it's not what I find entertaining. But you give me a 60-minute Mark Hyman or Huberman lab, or 130, an hour and a half Huberman lab that's on a subject that I want to listen to, then I'm all about it. And that's fine. It's, I think you do have to have thick skin, and like you said, you have to know what your niche is, but you can't let things deter you if someone doesn't want to listen to your podcast or doesn't find it interesting, because everybody has their own interests.
That's right. And we say podcast, but you could be Instagram or YouTube or whatever. Like, I feel like we're more YouTubers at this point than podcasters. I think it's more about what we do. Regulation professionalism, that's something to think about if you decide to get into this. So a lot of content has to be outlined by like ads. We talked about this already. So that's important to know. And then future trends. You got to stay on top of future trends to make sure that you are relevant. You got to constantly be relevant. It's really hard to make money as an influencer, but it can be done and done right, done and done well. I mean, there's a lot of influencers I follow that eventually, like, hey, like, I really like that they do this, so I followed them for this specifically. And if you look through, if people say we can get you 10,000 followers or blah 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 blah, it's not easy, and there is some luck involved. And we're exploring this now. I did some test subjects. I created a whole animal account. We have a 3-legged cat named Poppy, and she hops around, the most adorable thing. We think she's adorable, but you may not be a cat person. You may not be your thing. But everybody loves a handicapped pet. Come on. But yeah, I was playing around.
She's pretty sweet.
Right?
She's pretty cute.
And so I posted probably 100 times since the beginning of the year, just kind of test it out, just kind of play myself. And I didn't know TikTok. I know it better now. Only one went viral and only hit about 28,000 people. And arguably, And it's interesting about TikTok. It's actually, the government's talking about banning it. By the time this airs, it might be banned. I don't know. But interesting about TikTok is if you're consistent, my views are slowly getting up and up and up. I'm still getting 800 people, blah, blah, blah.
Consistency is key.
Consistency is
keep
key.
at it.
Consistency is key. And that's what I told Emily. We did this podcast. We guaranteed ourselves at this pace we're moving at for 1 year, and then continuing on at least for 5. We invested in equipment. And honestly, I think we love it. You're learning, like, I don't know if you love the camera part. I don't know if you love this part of it, but I think you do love the learning and research and divulging on it.
Yeah.
Like, you lit up like a Christmas tree in the last one. You did. And I was loving that. That was probably one of the episodes that I saw from you that was so like, it was, you were in the zone, man. I was like, damn, she knows this stuff. It's like hard to like interrupt. She's like, I know what you mean when it's like, so that's like, I think we should stop there and we can hit on the next 3 and final thoughts in part 2. I know this was gonna be a long episode, but it gets better.
Yeah. Can we get like the X-Men cut screen where it's like to be continued?
To be continued.
We will be back with the second half of this episode on get rich quick schemes exposed.
Exposed.
So we'll see y'all in a minute.
Bye.
He's on the hustle, she's on the grind. There's no time to kill. For saving lives and new deadlines, and there's some holes to fill. With a little help and a little wealth and a lot of love. That's a life that we live. Suits and scrubs.